Now welcome our newest member, Mr. Moore, and recognize him for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair and Ranking Member, for the very warm welcome. I appreciate that. I'm thrilled to be here for my first budget committee meeting. And as mentioned too, I am the father of 4 boys, 9 and under. And so my wife and I are very much in the thick of early childhood development. And I want to just give an example to try to put a little bit of context to what we're talking about today. While I would never admit to which one is my favorite, especially on the congressional record, we have put an enormous amount of extra special attention on Winnie. Winnie is a 6-year-old with autism spectrum disorder, and he just finished his first year of kindergarten at a traditional kindergarten where he was allowed to have an aide come in and help. And we have been giving him gobs and gobs of resources from the very start when we recognized that there was going to be a developmental delay. And I come from one of the most conservative states in the nation. I come from the state with the strongest economy, and I come from a state that gets criticized for what are they doing, not spending enough on education in early childhood. We have been so fortunate to take advantage of many programs that my state, my very conservative state, does have a part of. And I laud, and I'm very appreciative of our state legislature for always being able to balance where we would, how we handle this. I look at the success that we've had, and we're very excited about the future for what holds for Winnie. But the point that I'm trying to make, and I want to do it in the most sincere way possible, there are times where we need flexible spending in our family finances to be able to go and address issues that come up. And my siblings, none of them had this issue. None of them had a child that had these particular types of needs. They had other issues. We have to have flexible spending and an opportunity, when you want to call it disposable income, whatever you want to call it. We need to be able to have that in our individual families. So we empower families. I love what Speaker Gingrich said about empowering families over empowering government. And that's the part that I'm most frustrated with. I voted against the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan because for that exact reason is I don't believe that it empowers families and it empowers us to be able to make decisions. And as I look at what the outcomes have come in the last 18 months, where we have seen record inflation and decreasing real wages, that will limit families' ability to address some of these issues. And again, I'm admitting that there are many programs that my very conservative state has put in place that have helped, and I've been a part of it. But there is a balance here, and we cannot allow our economy to get to a point where we're having runaway inflation that will limit individual families being able to go and address this issue. Speaker Gingrich, you've already talked about how family finances, federal deficit spending, and everything can be a problem. There's 2 other things that I wanted to get a chance to ask you about, and that's the work requirements and welfare programs, and then the budget process in Congress. And I just wanted to give the time to you for the next couple of minutes. If you have any thoughts, I'm a big fan of what you accomplished when you were in the late 90s and what you're able to do in a bipartisan way. I put together a task force that provides some of these recommendations. Would you offer any other ideas to this group on fixing our budget process and or addressing and how important is the work requirement into welfare programs?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for your very personal testimony, which I found very moving. And I think it's important that people realize that we're not just talking about abstract public policy, but we're talking about real families and real children and real situations. And I think you helped with that comment. I'll just say 2 quick things in the time we have available. One, and this will shock some of you, but I actually believe in an approach of listen, learn, help, and lead. I mean, if I could get any one thing across the Congress, because remember, every single reform that we passed in 4 years had to be signed by Bill Clinton. We had to be bipartisan. And every single reform Bill Clinton was going to get to sign had to be passed by a Republican Congress. So we had a vested interest in listening to each other. And I would start there. There is more than enough ground, I think, for people to find an opportunity to be positive and creative in a way that's good for America. Second, I really do believe, and I can't say this too strongly, you need to look at balancing the federal budget as a big project, not a series of little projects. The corruption opportunity is so staggering. There is so much out there. And that money could all be either going back to the taxpayer as a tax cut, or it could be going to new programs, or there could be some way to divide it. But the fact that the Congress doesn't take seriously the theft, literally theft of billions and billions of dollars, I think is a major lost opportunity, both in funding programs that matter and in getting back towards a balance. So thank you for your question.
Thank you, Chair. You're back.
Gentlemen.